Hey guys, my name is Kaby, this is Kaby War Legends. Today I'm going to show you the game I played against an opponent which I never faced before. We played actually 2 games in a row, and I chose that one that I liked the best. And in this one I play light. I actually played light in both our games, but he played different factions. This time around it will be light against light, which you can easily assume by the fact that I have a red color. The default color for the light is blue, so whether you have red, that means that your opponent is light. This knowledge may be useful for you if you were for some reason not looking on the screen and missed the loading screen, so you don't have an idea even what faction is your opponent playing. But in War Legends that isn't that much of a problem, because you don't really make too many decisions in the opening phase of the game, so you just go scouting with your first unit, and then you'll pick up the info. Well, the exclusion from that may be the case if you probably don't wanna even get the first unit that fast and maybe going up to 9 workers. Well, then you, I guess, have to look on the screen to be exactly aware of the matchup you are playing. So, anyways, I know that I'm playing against the light, and I also see that my enemy is sending his swordsman over to my place, and I see that he has at least 3, so I was thinking that probably he's doing the 2 barracks build, and this is why I decided to place the elven tree relatively fast, because initially I was going to play the Fox Riders, the Fox Rider opening at least, which you can notice by the fact that I am taken up to tier 3 main building already, but it would make sense for me to make a faster sanctuary, but since I thought that my enemy could be rushing me, I decided to, instead of that, adapt the build order and place the elven tree faster. The faster elven tree will not only allow me to make an archer, but also to have the light magic tower, and of course an aura, the tree that makes my units which die within the aura to survive and fight for a few more seconds, which is quite important in the engagement if you're trying to hold the push. And here I was going after his swordsman, and I see that he's trying to chase my units with a lot of his own swordsmen, so he's pursuing me, and I have to build that light tower magic I mentioned before. I only have 1 archer so far, so I move her inside the base. She doesn't have to tank, obviously. And I also not willing to take the fight when I cannot take the fight, because I have my elven tower still being built, so there's no single reason for me to even start an engagement. Now I have the tower, and I also have an enemy going on my workers, so I can engage at him, and also I left 1 swordsman on the chest, so I'll probably be able to get a chest. I'm finishing off his squad, and I didn't really lose anything, I guess, apart from a couple of workers, but rebuilding workers is not any hard. And I also have my Fox Rider already being built, and there are different options I have with that Fox Rider. I can either go on the top chest and see if it's still there, or I can use my army to go on the top chest, but actually I think that it should not be there, because my enemy was pushing out, and it would make sense for him to go on the top chest to grab it. That would be just the basics of how we play around the chest. So I decided not even to go there in the beginning and try to see what does he have, and he has quite a bit of copters, so obviously I have to pull back to my own base because I don't really have much even strike in the air. I'm also adding the mana tower that will add me to use the gravity scroll to have something against the air units. And I can mention that when we were playing and my enemy was dark, he went the two workshops mass aeronauts build, so I was sort of slightly anticipated that he may go air. Of course, helicopters are much more tricky thing to build comparing to aeronauts, but still that was a good decision to make. Now I have my mana tower up, and of course I also wanna have the mana well, so that my mana replenishes faster. Also the mid-chest time's coming up, but I decided to skip it. That is the decision I make, so I can either go to fight for the mid-chest or take the mana well. But we saw that an enemy had quite a bit of copters, and since I didn't have a chance to even have the gravity or any other fight and scroll, I decided that I'm not able to win that fight. He will just have his copters left, and that will force him into winning and me into losing, so why even take that choose, you know? So rather than that I decided to take mana, and that will mean that in the next fight I'll be able to use something fancy. But now I also had my healer out, so she slowly get my HP back for me. And I'm thinking what I'm actually about to do, and my idea here was to go to the bottom side of the map to see if the enemy actually captured his own mana well, because I have two Fox Riders and I can try to steal it, but we see that all of his army is right here in the bottom of the map, and I'm still not up to fight because I don't have many archers, but I added the second barracks to have to build the archers faster, and I also built my hero altar. I'm not really about to get a princess. That would sound native because the enemy has a lot of air, so why don't you want to have another archer? But you must remember that the princess is shooting with the magic, and you can learn that if you will pay attention to the voices. In this particular game I have the Russian voicing game because when I was doing my job I had to reinstall different builds, so I had the settings dropped to default, and by default I have Russian voices, so I just forgot to switch. So sorry for that, but anyways, what Princess says is that my auros are the elven magic, and that is not just for fun, that actually means that she deals the magic damage type, and since copters are mech, they are not vulnerable to magic, so you don't really want to attack copters with your princess. And rather than that, if you wanna do something and put up a fight against mech in the air, you wanna have Baron. By the way, the thing you need to know is that we applied a change, not exactly the balance, but we found that Baron was broken by a mistake, and his passive was broken, because when he finishes off someone, he then drinks a cup and starting to fight to shoot faster. But we didn't really arrange the numbers well, so he was drinking and losing time of actually his passive. So we just increased the time, and now he does, like, I think 5 shoots in the faster speed, and previously he was only doing 2 shots, and the passive made the hero even worse, which is quite funny if you think about that. But now it's not the case anymore, so Baron become a stronger hero now, and I'm about to get him this game, but slightly later, because the thing I'm trying to do lately, and I think I mentioned it in my previous videos, and I also can mention that I learned it from White Unicorn, one of the strongest players as per right now. And that thing is, I'm trying to have the tier 4 main building before everything else you can get in the prospect of expensive things. So I wanna get up to the maximum food supply as soon as I can, and only then I am taken up to the second hero, to the second elven tree, to have the wind mages and every other things that are expensive, such as the snipers too. So first I'm trying to get a lot of stuff, and then I'm gonna make this stuff better after trading, you know. That is the idea of the strategy. The tactical idea here is I'm about to make it look like I'm engaging and then just steal the mana well. If I just go straight to the mana well, obviously he will just kill my fox and that will be it. But now I'm trying to hit at the 2 places at the same time, and that is, of course, always the strongest thing to deal with in any areas. We see that the opponent have quite a bit of copters, and I can't even use the scroll really well here. I use the power circle, but it's only applied to 3 of my archers, and honestly I really threw that battle. I really lost a lot, and I didn't kill nothing, and now I have to retreat, and his copters are pursuing me, and I made an interesting decision to use the gravity scroll just to make the pursuit not possible anymore. And now I'm retreating back to my race buildings to fight in the auras, whether my enemy decides to fight me, but he decided to pull back. Instead of that, I'm quite fine about it. And you see, I traded. That wasn't a good trade, but that's not about the strategic decision making, right? It is about the tactical. So I did a bad fight. I gave a bad fight, but strategically it happens my way. I freed my food supply. I'm getting the better units now. I'm getting wind mages, and so Baron. By the way, my stuff is starting to fight there for some reason. Anyways, I probably can do something done. Can make something done because I already have 2 wind mages, and he has nothing striking the air. He only has copters and Gilbert and swordsman. None of those can strike air unless they use the gravity, but they probably can't. I'm not sure if he even has the mana towers, but he for sure doesn't have the mana wells. And since his army is here, he can't recapture. So I'm having 2 mana wells now, and it is also 15th minute mark, so I'm about to get the chest, and my wind mages keep pursuing the paladin, and I see that he's about to find my fox anytime now, and the moment he does that and moves in my direction, I just use the gravity scroll to make my fox live longer, And now my wind mages are about to probably save that sneaky girl. And, well, rather than saving her, I decided to move her inside the enemy's base to probably kill a couple of workers. Not sure what happened then to her, but by the minimap we can see that the girl's moving and already engaging something around the enemy's mine. And, well, it seems that somehow I lost the units. I'm not sure what happened, but I don't really my heroes to engage anymore. And I also use the magic blast. I don't have the second well anymore, but anyway I had mana, so why not? And you can also notice that I'd started to add the smiths, or we can just call them the hammers, probably. I actually don't know what do we call them in the English version. In Russian they are called something like hammer strikers probably, but I believe that they are just smiths. But that is not kind of an easy word to pronounce for me, so let's just say the hammers. And why I'm getting them is because from now on I'm not gonna fight against the copters with the archers anymore, because I'm getting the wind mages, and wind mages, well, they are doing magic, so they don't really deal a lot of damage to copters, obviously. Again, those folks are mech, but wind mages I just do a lot, and they're also slow. And I also have Baron who can hit air too, so I'm about to deal with the ground force. And to deal with a lot of swordsmen that my enemy keep getting, the hammers are quite good, because they have area of effect, they deal splash, to put it simply, and they really do good against any ground melee units, such as swordsmen and the halberdiers and wherever, if you don't split them at least. So I'm getting more hammers. They are also extremely heavily armored, and Paladin Gilbert with his aura, that round around him is not just for fun, that means an aura. That aura gives your allies 100 plus armor, additionally to what they have normally. That slightly depends on the level Paladin has. I believe I have 6 plus 1 maybe, but anyway, that is quite a bit. Speaking about which, we are about the same level with my opponent, so probably we have around the same unit strength, but it might differ slightly, like I may have higher paladin and he might have higher copters or whatever. And I do the same trick again, the same very basic trick I can really recommend to use. I again go to the straight engagement and stealing the mana well at the same time. For a weird reason we don't really see his army facing me, and by the minimap we can notice that he decided to do nearly the same thing, but he doesn't steal the mana well. I'm not sure why. I can say that that is probably the mistake, and I'm trying to figure out quick what I have to do. But you could notice that I decided to take the second base relatively quick, even before the 20th minute mark, when I still had a lot in my main mine. But that means that since I have the second main building, I can just travel the workers in there and get my units back and leave a couple of hammers in his base. I use the meteorite to finish off the dwarf tower quickly there, so he can't really mine anymore. And what I have here mainly are the wind mages, because my enemies still don't have a lot strike in the air. And here I also have mining. The bad news though that I can't really build anything anymore. The only thing I can build are the bikers, because I have the factory as well as the Dwarven Forge built in the low ground. And that is why you want to build it in the low ground, actually. So, well, I lost probably the worker here. And once he engages at this, I'm about to start fighting off him too. Okay, I can't really finish hiring that biker, so I cancel because I won't be paid back if I lose the building. But anyways, I have one biker, I can finish the copters, he doesn't have anything on the ground, and I'm also killed his main building, so this game is pretty much mine. I don't really see how my enemy could get back into this. So what won this trade for me is having the air units, obviously, and also having the faster second base. Sometimes we have a feedback that in War Legends it's not about macro, because you can't really have your second base quick. Well, in this game I did, and this worked out really well, I think. So thank you for watching, quite a game, and nice that we have another good player in the game. And that's it for this one. Make sure to sub so that you don't miss the next videos, and bye bye.